everyone, welcome back to the Normal Nomad and welcome back to another bookish episode for Vlogmas. I am going to be talking about festive reads today because it's day 16 and the puzzle I'm doing today is called Festive Reads. It's very adorable, I can't wait to do it. But I was very excited about this one because I kind of feel like festive reads and seasonal reading, because obviously different hemispheres, different climates, everyone kind of has a different aptitude or appetite for reading in these different seasonal times. And I feel like winter's a wonderful time to read, but then summer can be fun for other different types of read. So I'm just picking books that I find I love to read this time of year. And this is kind of like summer, even though we've had really cold weather and storms lately, like seriously. But for me, early summer and very festive vibes kind of get me in a very particular mood. You probably saw from my quiet vlog that I did earlier that I'm reading very nostalgically this year. And that kind of got me thinking. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how nostalgic my Christmas reads end up being. So I thought that's a great opportunity to lean into recommendations if you kind of love to read some nostalgic reads or festive or seasonal style reads this year. So join me as we go through some seasonal / festive reading that I highly recommend. Okay, so it's 3 parts. I have decided 3 parts that kind of really get me motivated for reading during December, because it's such a busy month. It's just so many things happening. And even if you're on break, there's just so many things happening. So I've got 3 styles of reads. 1, crime mystery, because let's be honest, crime mysteries are so satisfying, especially to read Christmassy themed ones. So crime mystery is going to be our first topic that we go through. Second is going to be heavy character focus, because I love a character focused book. Crime mystery, perfect for plot. Heavy character focus, where you feel like you are the best friend and confidant of the narrator, the main character, or you just want to be in that, the community that is built within this book. Those type of reads, they're the ones I love, because I feel like Christmas is such a community, like, vibrant time. And thirdly, the last one, I kind of went with a bit more magical fairy tale element that I feel works so well this time of year, because you just have all those amazing seasonal events. You have those like beautiful spiced aroma drinks and sweets and all these different things that kind of give that really warm fairy tale, telling a story by the hearth kind of feel. So let's get into the recommendations. And first we're starting off with number 1, which is the crime recommendations. I cannot go too far without recommending A Solari Gentile. This is book 1, A Few Right-Thinking Men. And if you enjoy really interesting political mysteries, it doesn't have to be purely political. There is amazing depth of society, but this is one of the best explorations of 1930s Sydney. Like, I learned so much from reading this book, because I then went and read about it, because I was like, I didn't know this. And it was just so interesting to see how historically accurate this entire series has been. I mean, the author even uses newspaper clippings from the time, and she manages to get that essence of that time and period, and the people and the characters and the political mindset so beautifully in this book. And yet it's an amazing character story. It's an amazing mystery at the same time. So yeah, I cannot recommend highly enough if you're looking for an Australian mystery read, besides Jane Harper, which is for all the contemporary fans out there. If you want something historical, A Few Right-Thinking Men by Solari Gentile is definitely the way to go. Next we have, I'm doing 2 for each genre. So next is a very Christmassy one, and it's one that I think is my favorite Christmas crime I've read. And this is Rhys Bowen's The 12 Clues of Christmas. This one was really intensely good. I mean, it had the 12, the 12 days of Christmas, but as a mystery. And it was just, you had the character of Georgie and Darcy and all these other characters that you see throughout the series, but it's just like, it's a really intensely good mystery. And I felt like this definitely upped the game for the series, because the series is good, but the mysteries can be a little bit, oh, they're solved. So it felt like this suited it so well. So yeah, so this one was such an amazing Christmas read. And it just felt very, very like Agatha Christie almost. Very, very inspired from that. It had a lot of twists, and I didn't expect everything that was happening until like just before the big reveal. I kind of guessed it. But yeah, no, it's a very, very fun read, and I highly recommend. Next we have character and community connections. I'll call that as a genre. But this one, I think, touched my heart so dearly. I want to be best friends with not only all the characters, well, not all the characters, but most of the characters in this book I want to be best friends with. And this is the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. So this is a novel told through letters. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but this is so beautiful to see these people write to each other. This woman who basically becomes a famous novelist during the Second World War, but she loses her family to bombing raids at the same time. It's just her journey after the war to find herself, but also to find a community. And she finds a community on Guernsey because she goes there to read about the stories, because it was the only place in England that was occupied, was the Guernsey Isles. And it's just a really beautiful story of telling this story through letters and writing back and saying, I must report on this, and just getting to know the people. And it's just lovely. I had a different edition, and I ended up hunting down the hard copy just because it felt so right to have this really warm and cozy read, and in this beautiful little hardback edition. So yeah, I love this one. It's so sweet. I really highly recommend. The other one, which is a really fascinating memoir, and that is The Bookseller at the End of the World by Ruth Shaw. Now, Ruth Shaw, I got to visit her bookstore in 2022 for my birthday. It's down in Manapuri in the South Island of New Zealand, literally like really far south, down in the Fiordland National Park. And she just has these two tiny bookstores, and to read her story, it is amazing, and it feels like you know her so intimately, but then you there's all these elements that you realize that people do contain multitudes. It's not just this one element that makes them who they are. They're constantly evolving, changing, and being influenced by different things. So this was such a beautiful memoir, and because it was told in such a way, it really felt really connected to Ruth the whole time. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one. It's such a great read. I went through it so fast. I mean, it's like the illustrations are stunning. I'm not sure if you can tell, but that's like the forest, and you got the tiny little house with a woman reading in it. But yeah, so the book itself is a beautiful edition. But there's, photos of her growing up, and I think she was born in 1940s, and all the wonderful photos. But her life was amazing, and it's just, to meet her in person was a really stunning thing. So yeah, I definitely recommend you check this out. Okay, so let's move on to our magic realism fairy tale element, and magic realism but Regency. So I definitely recommend Regency with an element of magic realism, and that is The Shades of Milk and Honey by Mary Robinette Kowal. And I love this book because it's almost like reading a Jane Austen or a Georgette Heyer, but there's magic as part of society. Oh, it's so satisfying. It's really, really cool. And I mean, it's funny, they changed the covers drastically, but I really loved this kind of using the original illustration style, and it just made it fit so well. But the magic system is in this being like part of what ladies learn. They learn to do glamour, and it's just really, really fun how they've interwoven the magic system so well into Regency society. I definitely recommend. It's a fun, very nostalgic almost read, but the magic and the classic Regency element with a little bit of a romance in there is beautiful. So please check it out if you can. Hopefully it's still around. But yeah, even the Jane Austen Centre said it was absolutely glorious. So if you need any more proof than that you love Jane Austen, you should try this one too. And lastly, the last book I'm going to recommend is Dun, dun, dun. This is Naomi Novik's Spinning Silver, and this is such a beautiful book. It's based off the story of Rumpelstiltskin, but it follows 3 women characters, and they're all very different from very different walks of life. But the way the author makes you really intensely focused and not obsessed, but you connect with these women characters so deeply. It's amazing, and I just love this story. It's such a beautiful story. So yeah, so Naomi Novik's The Spinning Silver. I did enjoy Uprooted, which was her first kind of like more Beauty and the Beast telling. It was very different, and I think it had its own place. But Spinning Silver to me was like the pièce de résistance of that kind of group of fairy tale retellings. So I definitely recommend. And I did manage to find the very fancy UK hardcover. That's when I was still working at the bookstore and I could just order this in for myself. But yeah, no, I highly recommend, and it feels like the most Christmassy looking book I have on my shelves, even though it's not about Christmas at all. But yeah, I definitely recommend picking that one up. So if you're sticking around for the puzzle, please stick around. But if you were just here for the lovely bookish chat, let me know down below what you love to read during the festive December, early January season. What really calls to you, because I think these ones, like that kind of category of community and magic and a little bit of mystery is like makes a perfect Christmas read. So if you have a perfect Christmas read that you like to revisit every year, let me know. I'd love to chat about it. But until next time, enjoy the puzzle and happy reading. Bye.